This is Dolynny TV and a big welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel. We're awaiting the official capacity of which will come down the pipeline either today or tomorrow that the Oilers have been mathematically absolutely eliminated from the playoffs. I'm still up in the air if that has happened or not yet. The NHL hasn't ruled quite certainly that it is done. I haven't read an article or anything about that yet. Let's double check at time of recording that we are good to go. End of the playoff push and dispelling some of the myths. Let's see. News. What can we find? Let's see. Nothing there. So there you go. Nothing quite official yet. But that's not what we're talking about today. Today we're taking a look at... Basically, I've already done one video explaining my thoughts and feelings as to why Mikko Koskinen needs to be waited on to next year to see what we have in terms of a goaltender. But as the games go on this year, you absolutely cannot ignore the fact that the weak glove hand of Mikko Koskinen. So today I want to try and get your guys' thoughts, throw out a couple of things, and gauge is what you guys truly believe the issue with Mikko Koskinen's glove hand is. Now for me, I'm very on the fence about this. I think a good, hard, long off season of hard work, good effort, and strong coaching could really change things for Mikko Koskinen. Now before we get to that, I will address a lot. I have had over the span of the past 6 months quite a few good comments discussing like what the heck is Dustin Schwartz doing as goalie coach of the Edmonton Oilers. Like seriously, Cam Talbot, nah, didn't pan out. You had Laurent Brossoit, nah, goes and gets good somewhere else. And now you have Mikko Koskinen and Anthony Stolar. Stolar is just a guy who's working and puts the work in the backup role for us right now. He's mopping up the cleanup shop right now pretty much. But Mikko Koskinen under Dustin Schwartz, game by game, this hand right here seems to look worse. So to you guys that say Dustin Schwartz may be the problem, I'd like to try and gauge it over the offseason. If you're the Oilers, you hire a new general manager, you maybe fire Bob Nicholson, you go top down and try and rebuild this organization like they tried to mini rebuild with just the coaching staff under Todd McLellan in the offseason last year. I think you really stand a good chance of getting it right if you can find a goaltending coach that knows how to work with bigger goalies who not necessarily struggle with positioning, not necessarily struggle with an aspect of their game, but a guy who just needs to adjust to the adjustments made by the other team per se. And I don't know, after watching how it's gone with Cam Talbot for a year and a half and then with Mikko Koskinen all year as the years wore on, I really don't think Dustin Schwartz is that guy. But for Mikko Koskinen, I think more than anything, you can't blame anyone else for your own failings, right? You're a professional hockey player. As a professional hockey player who gets paid this year 2.5, next year 4.5, you have to go into the offseason with a goal in mind saying, look, I have to earn that money. The fans want better. I can give them better. I just have to figure out how. And for Mikko Koskinen, I guess the question is, he really hasn't had a full NHL season, right? Prior to playing in Edmonton, he had a few games with New York back in 2011. But in the KHL, I mean, video is spotty at best on the internet of the KHL most times. But I don't know what the video work for teams would be. And especially in the KHL, as spread out and as far-reaching as it is, I really doubt that Mikko Koskinen got video scrutinized by other teams as much as he has this season. So to look at those numbers in the KHL and say, well, he was good then, why isn't he good now? Well, it's kind of a, you know what I mean? It's a blend of the NHL game versus overseas, where I don't think they put as much effort forward into the compete level over there. It's not a knock. It's the territorial span of the game, right? You've got 31 teams in 2 countries jam-packed next to each other. The most furthest north team is the Edmonton Oilers, obviously. So we can't kid ourselves that it's not like the KHL at all, right? So it's a mess, right? For Mikko Koskinen, he's got to come over and make a hard transition to the NHL. And essentially, as soon as he had a little bit of luck, he was named the starter. I was calling for it, yes. But that's the risk of being an Oilers fan. You call for something as soon as you see one thing positive or one thing negative, and sometimes it doesn't pan out all season. Am I angry about Mikko Koskinen's season? No. He's had a 24, 19, and 6 season with a .292 goals against average and a .906 save percentage. So, I mean, you finish up, you finish strong, you have a couple more games with 2 or 3 goals against, and he'll be fine. Get that save percentage up to about .908, and suddenly it's not as lost of a season for your backup. Remember, Mikko Koskinen entering this season was the Oilers' backup goaltender. So don't pretend here that he should have a .917, a .242 goals against, right? We can't pretend that. We knew what we were getting ourselves into at the start of the season with Mikko Koskinen. The only disappointing factor, like I said, is the glove hand somehow seems to get and seems to look worse as every game wears on. Some teams are better at picking at it than others. Sometimes the Oilers' defense is better at stopping those shots to the glove hand than other games. But, right, what do you do? What do you do if you're the Oilers? Obviously, like I said, maybe try a different goalie coach. Nothing against Dustin Schwartz. Dude was a Nate alumni kind of through their hockey system. I ain't complaining about him. I'm just saying I don't know if he's the guy that can solve this. You know what I mean? If he has had a full season to work on this and it's only gotten worse, I don't think he's the guy that can solve this. And honestly, like I said earlier, the only guy I feel that can solve Mikko Koskinen's glove hand issues is Mikko Koskinen. Now you've had Drew Remenda, Louis DeBrusk, and Kevin Quinn all mention it seems to be a positioning thing, it seems to be a timing thing. Well, for Mikko Koskinen, if it's positioning and timing, essentially all you have to do is work on that reflex, work on the hand-eye reflex a little bit more, and get yourself going. And for Mikko Koskinen as an NHL caliber goalie, now after playing 52 games this season with a couple more to go, you can't sit there going into the offseason and pretend, oh, well, you know what, I don't fit here. Well, you're signed for the next 3 years. You have to fit, and the only way Mikko Koskinen will fit with the Oilers for the duration of those 3 years is if the glove hand gets better. And it's not because the Oilers would ship him. I mean, if Bob Nicholson's still in charge, he'd go down with the ship as Mikko Koskinen with the starting role, but it's the fans, right? It's the media, it's the atmosphere, it's everything but the actual Oilers themselves. Because, I mean, we've seen the old boys club, the mentality of little change equals big results kind of mentality that hasn't panned out for the past few years. But you've got the media pressure, you've got the fan pressure, and guys, I sit here and I say something negative about the fans, and you guys get defensive and oh my God, how could you call out the fans? Guys, every Oilers player that has come here for a few seasons, been shipped out because he had lackluster production and then went on to produce somewhere else, has said how much of a pressure cooker Canadian markets are and how hyper cooking Edmonton can be when things aren't going right for you. The media is saying they aren't going right for you, and then you are sitting there being blasted on social media, blasted by the fans, blasted on the streets, everything. And that's the thing. Like I said, nothing against Mikko Koskinen, nothing against Dustin Schwartz, nothing against anybody who does anything with these Oilers goaltenders. But if you're Mikko Koskinen and you know going into the offseason you have to improve, the number one thing you have to figure out is the glove hand. That's just analytical analysis of tape. That's simple. I don't think Mikko Koskinen would deny that he has to fix the glove hand. So let's not sit here and pretend that it doesn't have to be fixed. And I think we're all in agreement that it has to be fixed. Now, like I said, it's positional, it's reflex and stuff like that to begin with, and then hopefully it sorts itself out as you go along. Will it? I don't know, but a strong offseason out of Mikko Koskinen and potentially a goalie coach change could really help the goaltending next year for the Oilers. And I mean, you find Shane Sterrett in the backup role next year. You find Mikko Koskinen doing excellent things, good to go. You might not be that bad off. And guys, to my point about Shane Sterrett, if you guys think Shane Sterrett's not ready, he's 24 years old or something like that. The guy is ready to play NHL hockey, especially if they go on a deep playoff run down there in Bakersfield next year. Guys, I'm Tyson, this is Dolynny TV. Sorry, I don't know if I made any sense on that, but I just had to rant about Mikko Koskinen's glove hand and my feelings towards it. Like I said, Tyson, Dolynny TV, I am up on out of here.